The second realm, and I'm going to go into each one more, is the period of life from birth to death. So the first one is the pre-worldly realm. And this is called the period Ahdul Mithaq, which I'll get into in a second. The Mithaq. The second is Dunya. Now in Arabic, the word Dunya comes from a root word, Dunya, and it has a few meanings. One of them is reaching out for grapes. That every time you get near them, they move a little further away from you. So it's the idea there is that the phenomenal world is that as we attempt to grasp it, we're moving away, right? Paul Simon has a song called Slip Sliding Away, right? The nearer you are to your destination, the more you're slip sliding away, right? And it's about death. Is that, and that idea is captured in a wonderful hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, in which he drew in the sand a box. And then he drew a line and he drew a line up here. He didn't write it, but he drew a line here at the top of this line. And then he drew a line out here. And he said that this was a man's journey in life. And these lines were the a'rad. They were the vicissitudes of his journey. At each stage, things will happen to him. If they don't do him in, he moves to the next one. Until he reaches at this, the ajal is your appointed term. And it could be at any point, because people are different. It could be at any point along the way. But for people who go all the way through, they reach old age, and what gets them is known as haram. And there's a tradition in which the Prophet said, peace be upon him, that the children of Adam, God has given them the ability to do all things except conquer haram. They can't conquer old age. And he also said that anxiety was half of haram. Right? That having a lot of anxiety will actually cut your life in half. So, as you're moving up through life, you reach this ajal. But then he had a line outside of the box. And he said this was a man's amal, which is his hope. So a man's hope is always beyond his time. And this is a really important motif. There's a verse in the Quran that says, ذَرْهُمْ يَأْكُلُوا وَيَتَمَتَّعُوا وَيُلْهِيهِمْ أَمَلُهُمْ. Leave them, these people that reject what you're telling them about the inevitability of the next life. Leave them to eat and enjoy themselves and to be entertained. And yulhihim means to preoccupy themselves with their hope. And indeed they will come to know. In other words, their ajal will come, and then they're going to realize that the ajal preceded the hope. And he also said that two things never grow old in people: desire for life and desire for more. Right? And it means here, it doesn't mean all people, it means people that are deluded. So this desire for extended life, and the interesting thing is the longer a person is here, the more accustomed they get. You know, you get up every morning, you've had your rituals, your coffee, your breakfast, you go to work, you see the same people. You get accustomed to being here, and we're in this very interesting experience of the permanence. And every once in a while there are things that happen that kind of shake us a little bit. Like one day you come to work and so-and-so was in an accident, or you get a phone call and your mother just died, or a good friend or something. There are these reminders. And they kind of shake people a little bit. But most people brush themselves off and just go along, get on with it, right? So we have this really, and this is all about this lower world, the dunya. Because it's like the grapes, we're always reaching for it. And it's always moving away. Because the moment we came into life, into this dunya realm, our death, we're moving inevitably towards our death. One of my teachers in the desert, when I was leaving, and it was a camel journey of about a day, the last thing he said to me, he said, "This journey that you're taking this morning is like your life. You're moving towards a destination, and every step that your camel makes takes you a step closer to that destination." And he said, every breath you take is a step closer to the termination of your breath. So keep that in mind along the way. And I was with a West African. We arrived at an airport, and he'd never been on one of these moving, not the escalators, but the actual sidewalks, yeah. And we got on it, and we were standing there moving along, and he said, "This is amazing. This is just like our lives. We think we're standing still, but we're moving towards our deaths." And then it was really interesting because at the end of the sidewalk there was a sign that said, "Caution, the end comes abruptly." So that is the metaphor, right? And this is the point, that unlike that escalator where you know where it's going to end, this walkway of life that we're on, the end can come at any point. And so keeping this in mind is something that's really important. I'm going to go a little bit into that.